Мікрофони дуже дорогі.
Можна бути.
Можна бити?
Вам можна все. Вам допомога з мікрофоном треба буде?
Ні, я сам можу взяти.
Добре. Мікрофони включені, треба просто.
Побачу.
Добре, скажу. Перший.
Of November, Ukraine Media Center Conform starts its work. My name is Svetlana Cheparenko, and now we're going to have a presentation of the project I Could Do It, and you can do it too, aimed at empowering veterans with amputations. I would like to introduce the participants. Oleksandr Tereshchenko, head of the International Charitable Foundation, veteran of the Russian-Ukrainian War and the author of the project. Valeriy Kucherenko, veteran of the Russian-Ukrainian War, hero of Ukraine. Larysa, Pokalchuk, project director, Ukrainian documentary platform. And Olha, Huzhva, project podcast specialist, head of the Media Center East of the Consortium of Veterans Organizations of the East. Welcome to you all. Oleksandr, the author of the project. It will be logical if we'll start from you. Please tell us about this project, where you've got this idea to create it. Good afternoon. Before I answer your question, I have to make one very important thing I actually have to do. So we are looking at some magic right now. I hope it's not something explosive. No, I'm not playing with explosives anymore. Well, even without words, I already have an understanding for whom this project was created and what useful impact it has for such people. And now let's talk. Of course, I could do it at home. You've got it. But, well, this simple thing, I was convinced for 4 years that I wouldn't be able to do it on my own ever in my life. On 14th of October, I was traumatized seriously, and actually this dependency on others to cover my needs limited my strives for independence a lot. Well, I've asked my children, my month for 9 years. I was convinced that I wouldn't be able to shave myself with an electric shaver. And I was asking my wife to help me with that. Last year, I've managed to learn how to do it on my own. Well, you know, there was many examples like that in my life. When you lose hands or legs, and I specifically speak about hands, when you are adult, it's, you know, like you lose a handle from your suitcase and you can't use it anymore. And as a child, you start learning from the scratch how to live. Well, when I was in the hospital, I was thinking, how can I adapt to the new reality? But since I have my technical way of thinking, I've started thinking about that. Well, so I have 10-year experience of living without hands, and I couldn't spend too much time to invent a bicycle. And since well, for a few years I was thinking about such project, which normally would motivate, because I saw a lot of motivating documentaries, and Well, there were a lot of examples when people who could reach some record on veteran competitions or something like that, but it wasn't clear behind this scene how can this person get out of his or her home. Well, how can they get to work? How can they go to the toilet to wash themselves? All these basic elements, this basic level of Maslow pyramid, how it works. So I wanted to create a project which would provide simple advices how it is possible to achieve everyday independence, to be non-dependent of others, to be able to go out of your home and be independent of your wife or mother or anyone else, to let them not think who should take care of us. Well, I'm very grateful to U.S. Embassy in Ukraine for supporting this project. Could you please tell us what were the components of the project and what it entails? Could you tell us a little bit more about it? Well, our project, of course, we want to help as much people as possible. All those who lost their limbs, all those who are at the very beginning of their new path, who doesn't know how to live further, when they think that life is unbearable and they cannot take care of themselves. We'd like to give specific advices and recommendations how to make small steps toward the independence and success. I do understand that our advices and recommendations cannot be a ready-made case for everyone. We have people with different level of complexity of their amputations, people who live in cities, in privately owned houses. Well, they have common habits, but nevertheless, our advices and hints may be adapted to the needs of different people. Our advices will be also useful for ergotherapists and specialists who are working with veterans with amputations, and also for families. They might get some clues how can they adapt their premises to help veterans to become more independent. Also, we'd like to see more veterans with successful adaptation to the new reality and to share their examples. From my personal experience, I'd like to say that for me, it's an additional psychological rehabilitation. When you help others, you kind of forget about your specific situation. And I think that Valeriy will agree with me in this regard. So I'd like to refer to all veterans in all social media. On all our pages, we have Google form. You can give us your coordinates and share your personal story and experience. The more we have such experiences, cases, the more people will get support from us. And the third point we're hoping for is raising awareness and educational goal to create an environment which would help to develop not sorrow and pity, not treating veterans as a burden, but to understand that we can create an environment where veterans with amputations can live their independent life. Because I believe that for 10 years, well, I lived quite an independent life. I've traveled a lot. I do sports. I work. So it is important to create such an environment and to make it favorable to such people. As to video tips, they will be related to specific situations, and there will be also a PDF instruction, and also there will be a podcast on the topic of social adaptation. I believe that My team members who are dealing with this matter will provide more details on that. And I'm absolutely grateful to all members of our team. They are very inspired to create this project as best as possible. Thank you, Alexander. Let's move forward to the specific components of the project. Larysa, as a project director, could you please tell us a little bit more about these video tips for veterans? What advices do they contain and how they were created? Well, let us start from watching one of the videos which was created this night. We are at the very beginning. We are looking for a form, for an approach to make on one side this useful, on the other side to make it appropriate not only for veterans but for their family members and the broader public. And we expect the broader public to change thanks to these videos. Please do not judge us. As for now, I will provide some comments. Hello. I know that I don't know how do you start your morning. I start my morning with doing my bed. Of course, in our video tips, we are not going to speed up videos. We will demonstrate each detail to make it visible and clear for veterans. Well, it might be a simple task. Well, sometimes you have bad days when nothing goes right. Everything falls down and you start believing that you can do nothing. You don't have your hands and you cannot overcome some issues. But when you come home and you see your bed done, you understand that you were great and you did it. You nailed it. Well, our bed is made. Let's now work with our face and let's brush our teeth. Well, each veteran will be able to compare this simple process of teeth brushing. Well, I'm ready to change the world. Well, you should have a vision to make some thinking. How can you do it? Well, if you can't, it means that you haven't thought enough. Well, there is nothing impossible. Well, you can make stakes, guessing how many eggs I will break before I'll make my breakfast. It was just 2 days ago. Attention. Well, I won't demonstrate more. I'd like to be frank with you. I haven't been tasting best coffee in my life like this one, which I made myself with my own hands. And I believe that it was great. Well, we hope that we might create a different name for this project, naming Good Guys. Well, we are going to prepare 12 video tips. They will be filmed in real time to demonstrate how simple tasks can be done. Well, it looks like for these guys it's already a simple task. These tips will demonstrate in detail the whole process, the way which could be implemented by Oleksandr Tereshchenko or Mr. Valeriy, and which they already can do on their own. We are going to try finding new veterans to show how they do it. In general, we believe that this approach will be visually enough and clear for all veterans who would wish to do the same. Well, we of course will have to say that please do not repeat, find your own way, but at the same time we're going to reiterate that they should try again. This project will last till September 2025 in all social media, on the internet. We are going to publish this video. We will ask our colleagues, our friends to share these videos, because our goal is not just to create video tips. Our goal is to reach our target audience, the ones who need them. As to video tips, why actual video tips? Majority of information is perceived visually, but we have people with different disabilities. So our main idea is to create videos which have all three means of perception: to watch, to read, and to listen. If you can demonstrate the first page of our tip manual, well, maybe later, we will demonstrate it later, but the concept in general is like that: to see, to listen, and to read. We are all different, we all perceive information in different ways, and for us it is important to make it accessible and perceptible by anyone. So we are going to have also a textbook with tips, and we believe that each month we will be able to, if you'd like to, we will be able to present new video tip with your support if you'd like to invite us. So we are ready to do that this year and next year. Well, when when discussing our stories, I will speak about my story. But now I'd like to give a floor to Olha. She will talk about podcasts. Yes, Olha, please, could you share, please, what is the role of podcasts in this project? Well, as Oleksandr mentioned correctly already, and my previous colleagues, these are educational videos which are intended to give some tips to simplify this transition period, to help people to find out the ways to improve their lives and to make the quality of life higher. This is about stories, cases, ways, pathways, situations of different people. And if videos are oriented at those who would like to learn, podcasts are oriented at everyone, at all of us. Because amputations, disability, and consequences of injuries have become norm of our life. Unfortunately, we couldn't figure out that yet. We don't clearly understand what do these people who suffered from that feel, understand, and how do they live with that. Well, we sometimes see some wonderful stories, people with the prosthetics who make coffee, run, and so on, but podcasts will be about the pathway, about emotions, feelings. We've already recorded more than 10 different stories about veterans who were injured, civilians, and even children. These are the stories about life paths, about dreams. For example, a person from Konstantinivka who was injured by bomb has a very simple dream. This person wants to make a cup of tea on his own, to go to the couch and to drink it using his own legs and hands. A guy from Kharkiv who was severely injured, he has a polytrauma. When children played football, he wasn't sure if he wants to speak. So we've talked to him, and he said that, well, it is painful to me about all the situation I have, but I would wish to hear stories of others, of other children who had the same situation and lived through the same problems. He wants to return to football, and we do everything. They do everything possible to treat him so he can get back to playing football. So podcasts will complement this story. They will be useful for people on this pathway, so they would listen to specific cases, specific stories of different people, and they will hear that behind fails there is always a success, and it is just necessary to move on. Also, podcasts will be useful for wives, friends, all those around these people who do not understand what happens with these people, but they are eager to support them, so it will help them with their understanding. Thank you, Olga. I'd like to refer to Valeriy. You one of the heroes from videotapes we saw. Well, could you please tell me what was your role in this project and what it means for you personally, at your personal level? Well, for me personally, this project is, as you could see from the videos, that I could do it, and I wanted to demonstrate in my own example what I could reach during last year after I was injured. I'd like to demonstrate that this is not the end of the life. This is the beginning of new life. Life doesn't stop. It just becomes different, and my goal is to help people to adapt to their new life. Did you share your personal experience when creating this video? Not only driving the car. I know that you drove here to media center on your own car, and we saw that in the video. Do you have any other experiences to share? Well, I didn't do it yet, but I plan to demonstrate what I've learned. I still have a lot to learn for myself, and I still have to learn new things. Well, your colleagues, friends, do they refer to you? Do they ask you to teach them how to learn new things? Well, sometimes I receive such requests, people with such amputations. I am always happy to help them, and when I was in the hospital, I also was moving around and giving advices to other people, so we do our best to help others. Thank you, Valeriy. Olga, I'd like to come back to you. You've mentioned about podcasts that would be rather an emotional story. Do you break some myths during this podcast? Well, this is quite a complicated story, and I don't believe that one podcast or a number of podcasts can solve this situation, but we have to start this process. When we are talking about an inclusion, this is a two-way process, and society should make steps towards the veterans and the adaptation, and understanding should be from both sides. Well, podcasts are rather personal stories of different people who are currently at different stages of their rehabilitation. Some of them have received prosthetics, some of them are not, and that is a way to get better understanding how to live around such people, how to be tolerant, how to be ecological, how to engage them into different process, how to cheer them up. So these podcasts, if we look at our American colleagues, are very popular in the world. They are created by mothers, by wives, relatives. They just create them like a diary of their life. And if you'd like to understand what these people face daily, you can just listen to them and understand. their situation? Well, I hope that this project will not end with this limited number of this products, so we will deliver. I hope that it will be continued. Larysa, could you please tell us what was your choice of communication style in your materials? Is it simple and friendly? Is it humoristic or more serious? How do you see these communication style in your video materials? Well, we are still looking for this form, but we already got some understanding what should we do. We have a very short distance with our heroes, and not only psychologically, but physically mainly. Well, we have to deal with people's bodies, and they look unusual on one side. Such situation, you rather shouldn't demonstrate that because it's not usual, but we decided to do an opposite because our main character, Mr. Tereshchenko, allows to do that. He has an internal understanding of the importance of that, and he doesn't have this borderline, not letting get closer. So my task is to make it aesthetic and truthful as it is in reality, and I expect that we are going to work with the soul, with the body, with the mind of people with disabilities, and I wish that the majority of Ukrainians like me would stop and study it like me, that, well, that this is a new norm. Well, we had a very tricky situation when I asked Oleksandr to turn to me with the right side to see his hand, and he said that, well, I don't have it, and it was a funny situation in our case. Well, but nevertheless, these videos are for people who are at the very beginning of this path, to help them to understand how to live with this new situation. And Mr. Tereshchenko's experience, 10 years old experience, may be simpler for those who have newly acquired injuries. It may not be that simple, so we'd like to demonstrate it as frank as possible. So our goal to show different circles, family, friends, community, whole Ukrainian society, to help them not only to get used to people with disabilities and to understand them. We wish them to develop honorable treatment of such people, so they would develop a communication culture which will be which will be supporting their dignity, So it's not like when somebody approaches you and tries to give 500 hryvnias and to put it in your pocket. No, not like that. We want the society, communities, and the veteran community to be more honorable to each other in a natural way. On one side, there would be a sincere wish to support. On the other side, there should be a dignified way to ask for support and for assistance, and this is what I mean under the culture. So our wish is to make such an environment where veterans will feel themselves like ordinary people without feeling their special status. Unfortunately, we don't have a specific answer. How can we reach that, and how can we do that? Our country has a unique experience. Yes, it's traumatic. Yes, it's difficult. But approximately 100,000 veterans with amputations we already have at this stage. Well, it's not an official statistics. It's rather an estimate. But approximately 100,000 best Ukrainians have amputations, and they should become best part of the society. Yes, and not only veterans, civilians as well. Yes, so we are looking for this form, and I understand that this way wouldn't be easy. We might get different feedback because it's difficult work with the human body, and I hope that we will be able to develop a bit different society approximately in 1 year, and I hope, will change the situation in a positive way to help reach better communication with our veterans and the society. Oleksandr, I'd like to get back to you once again. Could you please tell us, in these videos, in this project, do you share your personal experience, or how did you reach that level? I can do it with the practice, with the attempts, or you had some examples because maybe Americans shared some information like that. There were a lot of American former American veterans who shared their stories. Well, thank you for the question. I was injured in 2014, and at that time we didn't have information about prosthetics. We only heard some stories about bionic prosthetics, and we couldn't even get them. Well, so my first prosthetics was very simple. It opens like that, it closes like that, so you should learn to operate it on your own. It was very complicated, and I'd like to mention that even now, participating in this project, I've tried to drive a car. Well, I tried first to do that 8 years ago. I could do it, but there were a lot of things missing for me, and now I saw how Valeriy does it, and I figured out that many things should have been done differently. Well, I cannot say that I know everything now, that I am some professor here. I try to demonstrate something new in each video. Last year, we had a delegation from the United States of America, from people who lost both their hands, and we've been sharing our experience. They were impressed with my experience of burying my eyes, and I learned something from you. So I wish to have videos from other veterans who will share their success stories. And using this opportunity that I have the microphone in my hands, I'd like to say that in this cycle of 12 videos, maybe there is too much of me. I share my experience, but why do I believe it is important? Our society is very conservative. They don't like to hear about how to go to toilet when you don't have your legs or hands. But I believe that if you can do such simple things on your own, or walk half kilometer from your home, it's already an independence for you. So I am ready to be as open as possible, to be as sincere as possible. And I wanted to demonstrate with this video what they can reach. Of course, I will not do my toilet things on video camera, but I would be happy to share how specific things can be done. So sorry for being too much of me there. Well, I believe that as to the main character of this cycle, I believe that it will be only an advantage of it. I know that a number of representatives of your team are here in this hall. We have Oleksii Zakharchenko, the manager of communication department of this project. Oleksii, could you please share with us how would you wish to reach your audience to cover these approximate 100,000 people with amputations, so they would see these videos and get these advices? Could you please share with us? I believe that this project wouldn't last a year. I believe it will last much more decades, in my opinion, because we receive new and new people with amputations. Unfortunately, this process of injuring our people doesn't stop. These videos are unique. Well, you can find a lot of different motivational videos, how not to give up on the internet from other countries, but you wouldn't rather find some practical videos. Our main goal is to publish these videos in YouTube, and I hope that Valeriy and Oleksandr and our participants will be able to give us some YouTube shorts and some short stories in a simpler format, which wouldn't require much time to shoot them. How do they eat borscht, for example? Well, this is one of the most important issues for Ukrainians, and vareniki as well, how to eat vareniki. Yes, in TikTok and Facebook, and in YouTube we have our channels. We are going to publish all that information there. But, well, it will be quite difficult to get to veterans. Specifically, we are going to cooperate with veteran rehab centers. We have collected all the information on them, and we are in contact with them. We will try to reach people there, so the posters and different materials will be shared there. We also hope for support from governmental institutions which are dealing with veteran matters as well. So our goal is to reach each and every veteran during this year, so they would be inspired with this I could do it, you can do it idea. And everyone who will hear us, who will watch us, please give us feedback. Of course, it may be done in a different way. The more thoughts and ideas we are going to have, the better it will be for this project, the better it will be to help veterans with amputations to adapt to their new lives. Thank you, Oleksii. We have one more representative of team, Marta, Pyvovarenko, head of psychosocial team of this project. Marta, we've already raised the issue of social adaptation, which is maybe one of the most important in this regard, because it is really difficult to integrate veterans with amputations into the society. How can we do lives of veterans with amputations comfortable psychologically and socially, and how should we communicate with them and with the society that they are the same and they should be treated the same, and you don't have to put 500 hryvnias in your pocket silently? Thank you very much for this question. As head of inclusion and psychosocial support stream of activities of this project, I am very grateful to Oleksandr Tereshchenko and his foundation for inviting us to support these activities, to join this project. Well, for me, it's really an honor to help in adapting materials, to make them in a workbook form for people with amputations. And we understand that loss can be treated differently. And recovery of independence starts at the moment when a person understands that it is okay to live through the loss, to grieve enough. And our goal is to help all the Ukrainians to understand that their losses are significant. It can be a loss of a limb or a loss of a house. So they should understand this pathway, they should undergo, they should accept these losses, and they don't have to try to convince anyone else that their loss is bigger or smaller or more important or less important. So we wish to create new vision in our society through transformative process. Well, I would say that we should fight with some positions of specific people, because awareness starts at the moment when people understand when and where independence of a human being restores after loss of their limb. If you have any questions to our panelists or any others in this hall, please do ask. We are open to any questions. If we have no further questions, thank you very much. I wish you success in your project, and I wish you to have much more than 12 videos only, and to collect very much interesting stories. It is very important to share this information with everyone. I'd like to remind you that we had a presentation of the project. I could do it, you can do it too, to empower veterans with amputations. Our next session at 12:30, we are going to talk about Ukrainian energy system for this winter period. Well, I'd like to present to Valeriy as our first veteran who decided to participate in our project. This is a coin, iron hook coin from our project, and this is a unit of iron hooks. We wish more veterans to join it. Valeriy is going to have number 1. They are all numbered, and I hope that we are going to have many of them. It's really very honorable. Thank you. That's a great end of our presentation. See you at 12:30.